This arrangement of Santeria is done custom for my patron Ryan over at patreon.com. Thank you so much for the continued support, and I hope that you enjoy this arrangement, or at least have as much fun playing it as I had putting it together. So let's go ahead and dive right into the song. To start here, we're going to work on the intro, and the intro of this song is a very unique sort of guitar opening, and we're not going to quite play exactly what's played there, mainly because of range limitations with the ukulele, but it captures the same sort of spirit. So to start, we're going to fret a C chord just with our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the E string. We're going to play our C and E strings together, and what I like to do here is use any combination of 2 fingers, whether it be the thumb and index or index and middle. Play those 2 together. Then we're going to play the open G. We're going to play 3 on the A, which should be there with that C chord that we're playing. So that should sound something like this so far. And then we're going to play that open G just as I did. Then we're going to play the 3 on the A again. And then open on the G twice. Now from here we go to an E7 chord. We're just going to take this ring finger, slide it down 1 fret to the 2nd fret of the A string, add our middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C, and our index finger here on the 1st fret of the G. And we're going to pluck the G, C, and E strings together, so we can use our thumb, index, and middle fingers for that. Then we're going to play just the A string, which would be the 2nd fret. And we're going to play the G string on that 1st fret there. Then the open E, and then 1 on the G. And then going right into the next measure, we're going to go to an A minor chord. But what's funny about this is we won't need to fret the G string on open. In fact, the G string will be played, or excuse me, on 2. We're going to fret the G string on open, which means that we don't even need to fret it. So we leave everything open to start. We play the A string, and the E string, then the A again, and the open G, hence all open. Then we're going to take our ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Take that finger off, play the open A, and then open on the E. So the whole 3 measures should sound something like this. Now as we go into the very next phrase, we're going to see it's a G chord. We can just strum through. So our index finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the E, and middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the A. Then we're going to play 5 on the A with our pinky. Then we're going to come back down to 2 on the A. If you can hold this chord and stretch up to the 5, that's preferred. You can also play your G chord with your index finger barred across the C, E, and A, and your middle finger here on the 3 of the E string, which you'll see will actually allow you to make that stretch a little bit easier. Comes back down to the 2 on the A. Now that sort of sums up the beginning of the intro section here, the very first part of the song. As we go now, we're going to go into the main verse of the song where the lyrics really do start with the Santeria. So as we look ahead, we're going to see that it goes to a C chord to start. So we're going to fret our 3rd fret on the A string with our ring finger. Now we're actually going to have a little bit of a pickup here where we play the 3 on the A twice. And then we're going to strum through the C chord. We'll play the 3 on the A 2 more times after that. Go down to 2, stretch up to 5, come back down to 3. And then we're going to play the 3 on the A 2 more times. Move to an E7 chord, 1 on the G with the index, 2 on the C with the middle, and 2 on the A with the ring. Strum all the way through with the thumb. Then play the 2 on the A again, another time. Then the open A, so we just remove our ring finger. Take our pinky, add it on 3 of the A, and then go back down to the 2, which should be right there with the ring finger. Then we're going to play the open A twice. So that sounds like this going into the verse. Now, as it goes into the next chord, it's going to be the A minor. We can fret that with just our index finger here on the second fret of the G by just moving up from the E7 one fret. We're going to play through all 4 strings, play the A string again, E string twice, then the A string twice, E string, then the A string. Then we're going to move to a G chord. Now what's interesting about this is just like we talked about earlier, you can play your G chord in the traditional way with 3 fingers, or you can play it with only 2, with the index finger barred across the second fret of the C, E, and A, the middle finger coming here on the third fret of the E. Now we're going to play the open A twice. And this is my favorite little part of this section. We're going to play 5 on the A with the pinky. And what we're going to do there is we're going to slide it up to 7. And then we're going to play the 5 with the ring finger here. And we're going to slide it down to 3. So pinky, slide up to 7, play 5 and slide down to 3. Right, so just a really cool sound. And then it goes right back into the C chord. And you'll see that that starts off exactly the same way. So to go through this entire bar now, it should sound something like. And then from here, what's going to happen is it goes to the same part that we were playing before. Only on this A minor chord here, instead of just being all the way through and going between the A and the E strings, we're just going to stick on the A string. Pretty straightforward. From that A minor chord, we go to a G, but this G has the 3 on the A played along with it. So what I like to do there is actually do a double bar. The index finger making sure it's getting the second fret of the C string. And then the middle finger is going to be barred and playing the 3 on both the E as well as the A string. Strum through that, play the 3 again, and then we're going to stretch our pinky up here to 6, move it down to 5, and then play 3 on the A, and then the last note of this particular line is open on the A. So to recap this whole line, we start with the E7 just like we did before. We play open on the A twice, and we go to the A minor chord. And then we're going to go to the G with that different sort of sound. This technically is called a G sus4, but functioning as a G here. Now from this moment, we're going to go into the chorus. Now, what you'll notice is that there's 2 verses if you look at the tab. We're only talking about the first verse right now, but when we get the second one, you'll notice I'll talk more about that sort of ska feel that's used in the song. If you're working on it so far and you're thinking, this doesn't really have that, offbeat ska feel, it's because this is more trying to be true to the melody of the song, while the second run through is more true to the kind of rhythmic feel that the song has. It's really difficult to capture that, and I didn't find a great way to do both simultaneously, so you could actually play one on top of the other, and we'll talk more about that as we get there. But let's go ahead and take a look at the chorus. The chorus is going to start with an F chord here. And we don't need to fret the 2 on the G, so just the 1 on the E with our index finger is all we need. We're going to strum our C, E, and A strings there. We're going to play 3 on the A with our ring finger here twice. And then we're going to go to a G chord. We can play that our traditional way with 3 fingers. The reason why we'd like to do the normal way this time versus others is because we're going to have to play the open A next. And we want to be able to just take off that middle finger. Then we'll play the 3 on the E, then the open A again. So just that first part of this whole line. And now it's got this little run of chords. We're only going to be playing 2 notes of the chord each time. We're going to start with just that ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the E string, pluck the C and the E together. Then we're going to re-add our finger like we're playing a G chord. So the index finger here on 2 of the C. Play those two together, the E and the C again. Then we just take everything off. Play open on the C and open on the E. Then play 3 on the E again. And then open A. Back into the F chord. With the exact same line as the first in this stanza. So this whole line of music should sound something like. Now as we go right into the next one, it's going to be, again, a few chords where we're only playing a couple notes of them. So we're going to start by playing the 3 and the 0, 3 on the E, which should still be there with your ring finger. Pluck the C and the E together, or pluck them with the thumb. Either way works, doesn't really matter from that standpoint, just as long as you get both notes ringing at the same time. Then we're going to add 2 on the C, but we're going to take off the 3 on the E and play the 2 on the C and 0 on the E together. And then open on the C, all by itself. And then 2 on the C and 0 on the C. So that little part is. And we go back to the F chord, but this time instead of strumming all the way through, we're going to play just the C and the E strings. Now another one of those big slides coming up, we're going to take our pinky, stretch out to 5 on the A, and slide it up to 7. Really important with this to maintain the pressure with that pinky to ensure there's a good slide and good tone. If you get this sort of sound where it dies, it's because you're releasing pressure with the pinky. If anything, you want to increase it just a little bit and get that great tone. And then we slide it back down to 5 here, and we're going to add the middle finger on 3 of the E and the index on 2 of the C. So it's kind of like a G chord, but we're leaving this pinky still here on 5 of the A. We strum all the way through all 4. And then we're going to slide the pinky up to fret 7 again and play that twice. And we go to a C chord. And with this C chord, I like to use my middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string, because the next chord's a G. So I can just move that middle finger down. The other fingers being the ring here on 3 of the E and the index here on 2 of the C. Then for the A minor chord, we just take this index finger, move it up, take the other fingers off. Then we're going to play 3 on the A with the ring finger, and then 5 on the A with the pinky. So this whole line of music should sound like this. As we go to the next section, we'll see that it's going to go to an F chord, but this one is a little bit different than some other Fs we played. This is actually called an F sus2. Again, it's functioning as an F here, but it's a really pretty sound. We're going to leave our G string open. We're going to fret 1 on the E string with our index finger. We're going to add 3 on the A, 2 with the ring. Of course, leaving the C open as it normally would be with an F chord. And strum through all 4 strings. Then we're going to come up to 7 on the A with our pinky. We're going to slide that pinky down to 5 on the A and add the index finger here on 2 of the C and the middle finger here on 3 of the E, just like what we did before. And then we're going to play 3 on the A string twice, followed by 2 on the A. Now we're actually going to stop right here with this particular section. Because now is when it goes back into the verse. So you could, if you want to, go all the way back to the beginning where it says verse on the tab and go. Right? And that would sound more authentic to the melody. But in this arrangement, I've got an alternate verse listed. And so what the point to this is to create that ska sort of feel, that offbeat sound. It's sort of this. Right, which is really cool and really important, I think, for the song. So what you can do if you'd like, if you have the opportunity to record yourself or maybe a friend that you can jam with, is to have one of you play the alternate verse while the other plays the normal verse. And you'll notice it'll sound really nice together and create that sort of offbeat feel. If you're playing this as a solo, you can do the alternate verse as this kind of second part, almost like a chord solo, but you'll notice it won't have the melody in it because it's more of that harmony and that rhythm that the song wants to have. So on this part, you can see here on section D, alternate verse, it's going to just be playing chords, and it's going to be using a technique called the pluck strum. And the way we do this is we're going to fret a C chord to start. We're going to take our strumming hand, and we're going to take all 4 of our thumb, index, middle, and ring fingers, and we're going to place them on strings. So the thumb goes on the G string, index goes on the C, middle goes here on the E, and ring goes here on the A. And the actual act of setting them on, we want to use a little bit of the tips of the nails to kind of touch the strings as we're doing this. Now what I like to make sure is that I'm ending up in the place where these fingers are on position. So you don't want to kind of overshoot it so that the fingers are out. If you're going for a little bit of that nail sound, it's really more that the nails are going to touch as they're going into position, so that we are ready to go with those. Just the act of pressing down on the strings will create this little bit of a pop, and that's listed with those X's, is just the act of setting the fingers into position. And then we're going to pluck all 4 strings simultaneously with our next thing. And we repeat this over the whole measure. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can hear that I get this percussive sound on the numbers, followed by the playing on the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're just going to switch chords. So the next chord that we're going to play is the E. In this case we're playing an E7. It's a little bit easier to do. It creates some cool tension. Same deal though. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and go to A minor. Same deal, then G. And it doesn't matter if we play G this way, our normal way, or we play it the way we talked about earlier. As long as you're playing G, you're good to go. And then it repeats. Goes back to the C, then the E, E7 in this case, then A minor, then G. Now you notice here that there's a repeat sign, and there's been a number 1 over all of this. And the reason is because after we play this alternate verse, it wants to go back into the chorus. So from this point where you see this little repeat sign, you go all the way back to section C for the chorus, and you'll notice the repeat sign is on the other end of that to mirror it so that you know where to repeat to. And you go back to the chorus and you play the chorus just like you did the first time, just the going all the way through. And as you go all the way through that chorus the second time, you'll notice when you get to section D, that alternate verse on measure 20, you'll notice there's a little 1 written above it. And that little 1 is telling you it's the first ending. So because we already did that, we go all the way to where it says second ending. And that's going to be listed there on measure 28 at the very bottom of the song on the ending. And so to play the ending of this song, what we do is we play a C, in this new position, our index finger barred across 3 on the E and the A, middle finger here on 4 of the C, and ring finger here on 5 of the G. And then we're just going to take this and move it down 1 fret to get a B major chord. And then from that B major, we're going to go to A minor, which we can just use our index finger here on 2 of the G. Then we go to a G chord, which we can play just our usual way with our index, ring, and middle fingers. Then we go to an F chord. For the first time, a totally complete F chord, so make sure you've got that middle finger there on 2 of the G, index on 1 of the E. Then we go back to a G chord. And then to end it all, we play a C7 chord, which kind of sounds a little funky. It's a little, you know, that's what's actually in the music. I think it sounds good. If it's a little bit too dissonant for you, you can end on a C chord instead, but I like that C. So that ending phrase is right. And you can kind of slow down the chords as you're going through them, time them how you hear that you'd like the song to sound, you know, trust the way that you interpret the song to make it sound the best. And so just to talk a little bit about how we get in that ending, we go through the chorus again, right? When we do that repeat. And as we're coming off of the chorus, and then it goes into that ending. To end the song with that, again, real funky vibe, but love that C7. So the most confusing thing about this song is just the order with everything. Again, I want to just talk through the whole order of the song real quick, just to make sure that that's really clear. And know that you can play the alternate verse if you want. You can also skip it. It's sort of up to you for the arrangement and for the sound. But we start with the intro, right? We go all the way through that, then we go into the verse. We go all the way through the verse into where we get to the chorus, section C, measure 13. And then we go all the way through this until we get to measure 19, which is the end of this. And then it goes to the alternate verse, which we play all the way through. And that, again, that's all that pluck strum sort of sound. Get more of the rhythm of the song as we go all the way through. And we go all the way to the bottom of that where it's on measure 27. You'll see it says repeat markers. And at these repeat markers, we go up back to the top where section C is for the chorus. And then we play through that chorus again. Now, as we're getting to the end of this chorus, we go all the way through. And then instead of doing the first ending again on section D, which is there at measure 20, we jump all the way down to the bottom, measure 28, where it says the ending, and we play. To end the song. So, hope that makes sense. Really fun song. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's one of those things where the rhythm is so rich and important and the melody is so rich and important. It was very difficult to capture both simultaneously, so you can kind of play with each of those sounds. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And for more lessons like this, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where this, again, was done custom. And you can sign up to get your own custom arrangement done, or just suggest songs to be voted on for the next month's tutorial. Every month we do a new tutorial, and so please do check out the Patreon page. It's really what allows me to do this, is the support of my patrons. So thank you to everyone who is a member, and I'll see you guys very soon for another episode of one of these song lesson tutorials. We just finished the voting on September or October's lesson, and I think it's going to be Mad World, so that should be a fun kind of spooky Halloween-like song. So check that out soon. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.